What is going on in my Houston Texans family? Hope you're all are having a blessed Wednesday. When I tell you I am nervous and excited for this Houston Texans matchup versus the Denver Broncos in Houston, by the way, it's an understatement. But you know what I always love to say? If you're scared, do not come outside. Speaking of outside, if you are going to go to the game, let me know in the comments down below because me and the crew, we will be tailgating. We will be in the blue lot with the Texans Lone Star Trailgaters, friends of the channel, have really just became, friends in general. Absolutely love what they got going on. I can't wait. Let me know if you are going to be there on Sunday. Guys, this is the biggest matchup to date for this Houston Texans team. This Houston Texans team has another opportunity to prove to not only to the NFL world, but to its fan base that it can beat the good teams. I know San Francisco, record wise, is a good team, but people are still talking about the number of injuries. Well, there would be no denying it on Sunday if the Houston Texans walk out of NRG with a W. But before we get into all that hypothetical episode brought to you and powered by Sleeper, think you know football, then try to turn your football knowledge into real money with a Sleeper app, the ultimate fantasy sports app that can turn game day into payday. Just download the Sleeper app and pick more or less on your favorite players with more stats than any other daily fantasy app. Just choose two or more of your favorite players from pregame or live. Pick more or less from the predicted stats, and you could win up to 1,000 times your money if your picks win. Use promo code 713HOU, and you get up to a $100 match on your first deposit. Terms and conditions apply. Sleeper's also doing something fantastic where you don't even need a deposit. Free $20 entry. Just type in 713HOU. Sleeper, a fantastic app. I'm going to be dropping some picks later. One of the best apps out there, not only for daily fantasy, but get yourself some bread, guys. All right. Well, the Texans with another opportunity to prove themselves. And that's kind of what we've been waiting on this season. That prominent win. You had an opportunity to do it Monday night against Seattle after a bye week. You got embarrassed. You follow that up, though, with a very surprising victory over the San Francisco 49ers, where your offense was the driving force. You beat a good team, you beat a well coached team. However, you hear the chatter: no Fred Warner, no Bosa, no Purdy, um, no Ayuk. Fair. Texans didn't have Nico Collins, Christian Kirk, haven't had Joe Mixon all year, but all right. They have another opportunity this Sunday. Speaking of injuries, the Denver Broncos will be without the reigning defensive player of the year, Pat Surtain, the best cornerback in the NFL. He will be out the next 4 to 6 weeks, I believe, with the pec injury. So the Houston Texans, they get another break. However, still this Denver Broncos team, defensive wise, it's a top 10 unit. It's one of the best in the NFL. This offense is going to have to prove itself once again. Now, I will say, if the offense goes out there and does what it did against San Francisco, the conversations about this team, I mean, they drastically change and they change for the better. The Houston Texans right now are currently favored with the recent injury news to Pat Surtain. The Houston Texans might be getting back wide receiver Nico Collins. This Texans team has been relatively healthy this year. Let's knock on wood. Let's continue that. The offense looks like it's humming. This is going to be a fun matchup, ladies and gentlemen. Let's talk about the few things that could happen when the Houston Texans win, right? I'm going to manifest it. We talked earlier how the conversations would drastically change. Well, the conversation would immediately be this Houston Texans team has arrived. Better late than never. The conversations around this team would be You don't want to play them in the playoffs with the way their defense is, which is one of the best in the NFL. And I think Will Anderson Jr. is slowly starting to ramp up, and I think he's gonna about to go on a tear the next few games at home. They're gonna say you're not gonna want to play this Houston Texan team, especially if they are figuring out their offense. You see, right now, the notion around this Houston Texans team is that the defense is fantastic, but the offense is just awful. Will you change that narrative on Sunday? A win for this offense on Sunday, I mean, the fan base would immediately be bought in. I mean, how could they not against the Denver Broncos? Like I said, they're red hot, winners of their last four. This reminds me of when they were also red hot 2 years ago when they came into Houston with Russell Wilson, and that game ended off of a Jimmy Ward INT. I feel like this game could be potential fireworks. Oh, I don't know, because our defense is so damn good. It's hard to score on this unit. But if the offensive line goes out there, performs well, I mean, the confidence in them is just going to grow. Now we're cooking with gas. Now the fire is starting to get a little bit hotter. And what I mean by hotter, like this team will start to gel. This team will start to figure things out, much like what it looked like happened on Sunday with CJ Stroud and some of the throws that he was making late in the game. I mean, that throw to Xavier Hutchinson for a touchdown on, I think, 37, 39 was amazing. That looked like year one CJ Stroud. CJ Stroud has told us all year, has been telling us, if you keep me upright, I'm one of the best in the league. And he looked like that on Sunday. And man, if this offensive line can do that on Sunday, can replicate what they did against San Fran on Sunday against Denver, then watch out. Then Houston no longer has a problem. Houston is a problem. Another conversation that could be had when you get this win on Sunday is the trade market, which is coming to an end on November 5th, I believe. And last night we saw multiple trades already being made. Now, low level trades, right? Low level draft picks being made, but moves being made nonetheless. You get to start saying at 500, the Houston Texans should be buyers. We have been having this conversation the past year and a half about adding running back Brees Hall from the New York Jets. It's now being talked about on ESPN. When there's smoke, there's fire. I would absolutely be jumping for joy if the Houston Texans got Brees Hall. Houston Cyclones, right? I'll be looking at a potential left guard. I don't like this rotation of Laken Tomlinson and Juice Scruggs at LG. When you have two quarterbacks going at the same time, right? The idea is, well, if you have two quarterbacks, you have none. If you have two left guards, you have none. I'm looking at the Cleveland Browns, their left guard. I think it's Joe Bitonio. Two immediate upgrades at the trade deadline. Two moves that I don't really think can cost you a lot. Another running back that's being, mentioned is Devon Achane from Miami. You get to put yourself back. David Njoku was still being thrown out there as a potential trade candidate. Those type of conversations you can have, and all of those players will not only be here for this season, but for next. Those are the type of conversations that you can have if you win, right? So far, the two talking points when you win on Sunday against the Denver Broncos, that you are back. No team's going to want to play you. Number two, you can start looking at the trade market and say, with these extra draft picks that I got in the Laramie Tunsil deal, what could I make happen? Can I make something shake? Now, I don't know if Nick Casello has a history of being aggressive at the NFL trade deadline. I would say no, but I could be wrong. The third conversation you can have is playoffs. Now you could start looking at what some of the top seeded teams are doing. You can start hate watching those guys. And going forward, you have the Buffalo Bills. That's a potential tiebreaker there. You have the Kansas City Chiefs. That's a tiebreaker there. You have the LA Chargers. That's a tiebreaker there. This Sunday against Denver. That's a tiebreaker there. Like, you win this game, you start talking playoffs. You start peaking at if you can even sniff the Indianapolis Colts, because as easy as their schedule has been the first part of the season, it gets twice as harder the latter part of the season. So much things can go into motion if you win on Sunday. And I'll throw one more talking point, just one for myself. This will be the biggest win of the year, and this Houston Texans team could potentially go on a run. You win this game. I'm looking at Jacksonville. I'm like, man, I could beat them. I'm looking at Tennessee and thinking I could beat them. And then I got Thursday night football against the Buffalo Bills. These are fun conversations being had, ladies and gentlemen. Right now, the Houston Texans, 1.5 point favorites against the Denver Broncos. So it's still a toss up. I wonder if the line changes if Nico Collins comes back. We will see. But for more Houston Texans content, you guys know what to do. Feel free to follow me for more. Go Houston, episode brought to you and powered by Sleeper. Get a 100% match up to $100. Use promo code 713HOU. I love ya. Have a very blessed day.